Alright, we should be good to go. Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another Moonshire Monday. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate all the support. Haven't missed a single one yet, and I'm very happy to be here. Today we're going to be working on some destruction particles. So there's these objects in the world, like these logs and the box, where they have little particles that pop off. And I'm going to be working on a little bit more on those because they're kind of janky. They're a little bit weird right now. A lot of work that can be done on that, and a lot of cool things that I can work on in general today. Seeing a few folks in chat already. There's Mr. Banana and ETF Squish and Wolf. Hi, welcome in. Thank you for being here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that process. And also, I wanted to, before I forget, pull up the Chat Steam page, because the Chat Steam page is live. I'm going to go ahead and post the link to that. Give me a second. So here it is on Steam. You can search for Chat. Sorry, it's not actually showing the whole thing. There we go. So this is now, it's the app isn't released. This is coming out in a few weeks, and it is just the chat overlay that's above my head. All of the code is open source, and I created a little app for it for Steam that people can use, and I think it'll be really helpful for anyone who wants to stream from YouTube in particular, because there's pretty limited tools for that. But it also has Twitch and Kick support, and the big thing is that it actually has multi-stream support, so you'd be able to combine multiple streams into the single chat. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So please wish that on Steam if you can, and I'll be posting more information about that soon. Should be pretty cool. I'm excited for that. So to get started, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the sprites and talk about the images that go into these destruction particles. And actually, whoa. Yeah, it's been a while since I worked on those, and there's a few things that I'm noticing that we can probably fix. First, like, it's hard to tell, but some of them don't finish rotating. It's kind of weird. That's a little bit strange. Then there is the shadows. The shadows are not really lining up with the size of the actual sprite. By the way, I'm wondering if anything's wrong with the stream. Anyone seeing any issues with the stream's quality? Because I was changing things around in terms of the settings. Last week I did have some problems with, like, there was some lag with the game. I don't see any lag with the game this time, which is perfect. That's really, really good. But I am noticing that the concurrent viewer count is very low, and I'm not quite sure why that is. No issues at all. Good to hear. Maybe it just needs some time to ramp up for people to stop in, but that's okay. Especially, I'm really eager to get this new version of the game out for people to play, because once I have like an actual thing that we can play together all at once, maybe each stream can be like a testing session where we all try out a new feature. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, right now things are kind of slow just because I'm working on multiple things at once, trying to get the game out while also trying to get the chat application out. I am really proud of this chat application. It's very cool. There's a lot of cool things that you can do with it, and I'm excited for people to try it. If anyone out there streams, I would love to have some folks try it out before release, just to make sure things are working. I think it might be Windows only at first, but I might try to do Mac as well. But anyway, let's get back to the destruction particles. So all of those little wood particles up there, those are things that we'll be able to work on today. And in my sprite files, I have this folder called debris. And these are all the different types of debris that we have so far. And this is the wood particles. And if I open these up, they're gonna look pretty simple. Whoops. Okay, so this is what they look like. This is a log, and this is a wood chip. So all of this stuff is pretty basic. All of these are just small little rectangle or little like pixely blips that show off the wood particles. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I noticed that in some of these cases, they don't look very good. So first, Let's address this shadows. The shadows on these are very big. They're very, they don't really line up in most cases. So, a few things. First, I want to make the long plank, I want to make this shorter because then it would line up better with the shadows. We'll crop that and save that. Then we're gonna go over and work on these shadows. So for anyone who doesn't know, the shadows are these big white blobs. And I tried to organize them roughly by shape, but I think I'm gonna have to reorganize them once again just because it's really hit or miss, you know, on if they're good or not. Especially like bar is very similar to wide. Which also is really similar to, I think, round. Yeah, look at that. They're all like oval. They're all ovular, oval shaped. But right now, let's see. Let's see if I can find in the code where, what shadow those debris particles are using. So this is our IDs. So the way that you ID these debris particles is you say something like wood.plank. So there's the different classes. We have the wood class, and then we have the different flavors. Right now we have only... Oh, that's weird. Splinters. Wood splinter, wood steak. I think it's actually weird that I don't see the flavors in here. I'm guessing that the... You know what? I'm guessing that the wood splinters are automatically working without needing to specify a flavor, although it's kind of confusing that it's not necessarily specified. Any tips on personal branding for game dev? That's an awesome question. And really, I struggled with that for a while because if you didn't know, my channel, my branding went through a few different iterations. And I'll go ahead and show that because on YouTube even, I had an old channel before this one when I was a kid called Game Maker Crab. So if you search on YouTube for Game Maker Crab, this is my first channel from when I was a young lad. I was 12 years old when I made this first video. It says 16 years ago. So I was young. And the way I branded it was I just came up with the name and stuck with it. And eventually, like, I stopped making the videos. And actually, what I'm getting at is I went through lots of different names beyond Game Maker Crab. It actually changed a few times. When I was posting games on Yo-Yo Games, I changed my name to Play Adrift, and then actually my Steam account is called Kaiser Roll, and I was planning on making that my like developer name for a long time. So my like direction has shifted over time, and I don't think you need to be too concerned about like committing to a certain name. I would try to come up with a good name or come up with a good theme. I definitely overall think it needs to be something that can be sounded out and spelled nicely. That was a big concern I had when I was considering the name Kaiserol, because this is the name I use for like all my Steam page, my gaming sites and stuff. I like the name Kaiserol just because it sounds like Kyle and it's kind of cool. But the problem with the name Kaiserol is that like if you say this out loud to someone, they won't know how to spell it. You have to be very. It's a confusing way of spelling it, and I think it's clever. I think it's a clever name, but it's too difficult to sound out and understand. I think Game Maker Crab is a phenomenal. That's a phenomenal name for branding. And then combining the in terms of like branding with the profile picture, you can only do your best. And all of that stuff is not set in stone. Like I said, I changed from Game Maker Crab to Blade Drift to Kaiserol, and then eventually I'm like, Chalacade sounds like a cool professional sounding, almost like a company name. And it is a company name. It's actually Chalacade LLC is, it doesn't say Chalacade LLC on here, but that's what it's supposed to be. That's what it is. That's the actual company identifier. So back in the code here, I want to see and make sure, alternative universe where we get Game Maker Crab devlogs. I mean, I do wish I didn't stop posting those, because those were good, or they were good for a 12-year-old, 13-year-old making those videos. They were good. Thank you so much. I noticed you started with GameMaker. Do you think it's still a good production-ready engine as a starting point? Definitely. Yeah, I'm a big fan of GameMaker. I love it. I think that it's definitely worth still using today. It's very different from when I used it back then. It was kind of basic, but it's got so many good features. And the thing is, there's lots of legitimately popular and strong games that were released on Steam and for profit, because like Undertale was made with GameMaker. You have Hyper Light Drifter and what's that dumb... Let me think of some more GameMaker games. I'm trying to think of there's a really popular one that's slipping my mind. I think it's in my library actually. So let's go through my library and identify some GameMaker games. Wizard of Legend, I think that's a GameMaker game. There's Undertale. There is Rivals of Aether. That's a GameMaker game. Let's see, Hyper Light Drifter, Hotline Miami. That's the one I was thinking. I was trying to think of Hotline Miami. This is a GameMaker game, dude. All of these are really good. To have so many good games, I actually think Downwell is a GameMaker game. Let me fact check that real quick. I don't know how I will. What engine was Downwell made with? Was made with GameMaker, according to AI Overview. So GameMaker has an amazing history. Deltarune, I'm pretty sure they still use GameMaker for. Maybe they. I actually don't know. Do they use it? Was Deltarune made with? I'm pretty sure they still use GameMaker, but maybe they don't. It was indeed made with GameMaker. So if all of those games can be successful with GameMaker, then you can definitely be successful with GameMaker. Also, I'm a big fan of Tunic, and I'm gonna go ahead and jam. I just want to make sure that my jam feature is working. I've been working a lot on the ChalaChat engine and how all this stuff works. I'm really excited to get this out for people to try out. I think it's really good software, and like even if other people don't like it, it's so useful to me. Like I made this chat software specifically for myself just because I needed it, because I thought that the tools available for YouTube were a little bit lacking, and I think that this is really helpful for me, and hopefully it'll be... You fixed the MP3 name for that one? Yes, I did. I remember, yeah. So the way that works is the chat overlay pulls the actual... Oh, it's not looping very well, though. Yeah, look at it. It's not looping properly. Whoa, there's a bug. There's a bug. I need to fix that. That's really ugly. Watch, it's gonna like flash in over here. That looks so bad. Yeah, so the way that's definitely a bug with how the overlay looping logic works, and we can go ahead and show this. It's probably going to be even more noticeable when I pull up a web page for it. Actually, we can't see it because it's fully transparent. I should make it a feature where you could change the background transparency, because right now we can't even see the text. Like, I have to highlight if I want to see it because it's all transparent. So that's not gonna work. That's fine. It's not really important. But anyway, back to this. So yeah, I remember how this is all set up. When I say wood splinter, it tries to see if there is a flavor for it, wood, and there isn't any splinter. So it just uses all of the default values for debris, while also using the sprite for splinter. So the sprites under debris, under wood, splinter here. So the way that actually it's kind of odd. The way that this debris system works is it uses the sprites kind of as like the main focal point for how these are set up, where you don't even need to define. I don't like that. I think I'm gonna put in like all of the different options we have. Splinter equals, and I'll just put it in an empty table. And what are my different options we have here? We got Chip, log, piece, plank. Log, piece, plank is already on there, and then splinter, stake, strip. Splinter. Ugh. Stake and strip. You know, I'm starting to understand why I didn't do this, because it's kind of like a lot of pointless stuff. Because that's the whole idea, is that all of these different types, like piece, splinter, stake, strip, they're all very, very similar. If I pull up these sprites, I'll actually open up all of them in a sprite. I'll open up these three. So here's the strip, here's the splinter, and here's the stake. They are all really, really similar, but and that's why I think I just didn't bother putting in these details in here, because like these three behave all the same. They behave the same as just the defaults. Although it would be cool if I could like combine three identities into the same like table here, because I don't want to have to retype the same stuff. Dummy Talks, welcome in. Thank you for being here. And then this debris groups, this defines how many like of each type spawns whenever, like, for example, you hit a crate and the crate explodes. It's gonna spawn one plank, one piece of wood, and then one timber group. It's actually going to, it's like a nested group within the group. So we have group timber, and it points to timber, and it's gonna spawn all of these as well. Good day, welcome in, thank you for being here. Also, love the soundtrack, I'm gonna be jamming. And I think that we can probably test this out. If I like copied this and I put in like a bunch of these, it should spawn tons of splinters when I run the game and I like jump on a box. Yeah, so it spawns a whole bunch more. It's really awkward though, because they're not moving. They're just staying kind of like motionless. I think that... How does this get decided? It applies like a little bit of force to it, like an impulse. Base impulse 100. Let's change the base impulse to 1,000 and see if that changes anything. Whoa. The song ends abruptly. That didn't change anything. That didn't change a single thing. So I think actually the problem is that when the impactor is provided within the hit instance, where did this happen? This would happen in prop. Impactor. Arg's impactor. Ugh. I mean, this is what I want. Spawn the chips, process damage. Oh, this is happening in multiple places. That's so awkward. I think it's spawning. Yeah, it's spawning debris in multiple places. I really, really don't like that. Actually, one of these is for when it shatters, and one of them is for when it just gets damaged. So I guess that's different, but still. Args, that impactor. Maybe that comes from the hit event from Hitbox. Impactor. It does. So maybe I need a... It still is confusing to me. How about this? If I change it to 1,000, does that change anything? No, they're still just like staying right in place. And I think the reason why they're staying right in place is because recently I changed it so that the mass is constant. Before it had a very, very small mass. Impactor, spawn spark effect. Yeah, actually, it's none of this stuff. It needs to be where it gets passed to the prop. Collider here. It gets passed to the collider. Really? That's so annoying. Really, all I'm trying to do is make it so that. Am I using Love2D to make my game? Yes, I am. All I'm trying to do is make it so that the base impulse is going to be changed, because right now it feels like it's not even moving at all. It's so strange. It's just like staying right in place. So it creates all the debris here, the debris multiple here, using base args. Passes the impactor. That's fine. Knockback. Maybe knockback is what I need to care about. Where does this come from? This also comes from hitbox. Knockback. Self.knockback. I think it is knockback, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But why would it be defined by... Also, here's another thing I want to test. I want to test to see if my attacks actually do a reasonable amount of knockback, because that might be causing part of the problem. So I'm going to go over to input. I think that I have an input where I can spawn like a box, crate, or a barrel. Here, if I press I, it'll spawn 5 barrels. So let's go over here, and if I press I, it spawns 5 barrels. What I was gonna test and see... Oh, what the heck? Oh, these are fake barrels. Yeah, these are fake barrels. Do I have one that's not fake? I'll just get rid of the fake. I'll get rid of the fake identifier. Oh, okay. Let's try that again. Okay, these are real barrels. So what I was trying to see is, do my attacks actually have knockback? I think this one actually doesn't, and maybe that's part of the problem, is that I hit it with a no knockback attack and they don't move, and then hopefully... No, that doesn't change anything. Look, all of the debris particles just go straight upwards. That's like a bug. That's not supposed to happen. It's supposed to take the impulse from the attack and apply it to the debris so that it like flies away. But it's not doing that. And at some point I must have like removed that or screwed something up. Final mag. So maybe... Actually, maybe it's based off of this... Let's see if I can just artificially, like, change this. Still staying right in place. Where does this happen? Where does this happen? Create debris args. So where does it start its tumbling process? Because that's what causes this, is tumble. Or maybe the tumble doesn't... No, the tumble is just the height. It should still have its own movement. Impact impulse? Apply impulse. Oh, it's just applying an impulse. Okay, let's try doing it here. Like I keep saying, all I'm trying to do right now is trying to figure out where is the logic happening where the distance it travels is taking place. Because I just can't even find it. Still nothing. Still just staying right in place. So messed up. I wonder if the dir just isn't being passed. That could possibly be it. Let's make sure that this is actually being called. If start tumble doesn't happen, it should just like not do anything. What is happening? I don't even know why that... Is this like the right file? I can't believe that didn't do anything. Prop hit. Override the hit handler to restart tumble when debris is hit. Okay, debris is a prop, that makes sense. When the debris is hit. I guess the debris doesn't get hit here. The debris spawns, and it should have... Jam. Oh yeah, I love this. I love this soundtrack a lot. Create debris. You know, I'm starting to think that maybe the debris was always, because like actually I'm starting to think this function might not being loved. Console log. Wait, how do you do it? It's just print. We're gonna see if this actually gets triggered, because I can pull up the console, and I'm going to spawn a bunch of those debris and see if that happens. So let's see. Did it trigger? No. No, it did not trigger. So I think what happened. This is what I think happened. Earlier, when I first implemented this like debris system, I think I had it set up. The game crashed. Why did the game crash? Okay, one second. The game totally crashed. Okay, that's back. What was I saying? It was something dumb. It wasn't very important, I'm sure. Oh, I was gonna say that I think that when I first implemented this debris system, there was a bug where the hitbox from the attack was actually the thing that was causing the debris to be moved, but I don't want that to happen. So here's another thing. I should check it and see, can I hit debris while it's tumbling? So again, we're gonna check and see, does that console log pop up at all? Oh, come on. It does. So if I hit a debris while it's tumbling, also it really screwed. It gets really freaked out whenever that happens. That's so weird. I think that I put in a timer that deletes itself after a certain amount of time, so it screws it up. Okay, so this function that I'm messing with here, the hit, this prop hit, this is not actually the one that I care about. I think I want to make a prop launch where it actually triggers the hit. Or maybe I can trigger the hit right when it... Start tumble with random height. Always tumble when debris is created. I actually don't think I like how this is handled. I think it would be a lot better if... We're going to get rid of this, actually. I'm going to try and just call this function right here, down here. So I'm going to try and do the same logic that this is doing, but by calling this prop hit function. So I should be able to just call prop colon hit and then pass it. I think I can do this. Yeah. Let's see if that changes anything. It might break everything. It did break everything. Now it doesn't tumble. So that indicates to me that this prop hit isn't actually being handled properly. Impact impulse. You know, it might not be past an impact impulse. When started. Although the prop that creates it might. Impactor knockback. Oh, this is shatter. Wait. Impact dir. I'm thinking. Chips? I don't know what you mean by chips. Oh, spawn the chips. The wood chips. As in, like, chips of debris. So what I'm trying to do right now is these particles that spawn are behaving very weirdly. Because the start tumble is not being called initially. And let's try this. Let's try this. I'm going to give it a custom arg. I'm going to say impact impulse equals sure, times 1000. I'm desperately trying anything. I just want these to fly away. Oh, that worked. That actually did work. Kind of. It's not applying the impulse though. That's the weird part. That is the weird part. It did work. It did work. I just need to I'm gonna change this to force tumble equals true. No. Yeah, I'll say force tumble equals true. And then I'll say and... Oh, no, I can't do that. After some seconds. I mean, they do. So that's the problem, is that there's a few issues. Well, so the performance optimization I do with these wood chips is that they have physics when they start, but after they're done tumbling, they big ups, brother. Thank you. I assuming that's a compliment. I think it is. So while they're like first spawning, they have physics, but then when they land and stop moving, their physics get removed. So that's the performance optimization I put on these. But what I'm trying to solve right now is that the dumb colliders aren't getting moved. They're just staying in place. It's like this impulse isn't happening at all. X equals 1000, Y equals 1000. I like it doesn't make sense that impact impulse could be passed into this and it doesn't actually apply the impulse to it. It's very weird. Still broken. Still so broken. Let's make sure that this is being reached. Print. This is making me angry. Okay. So we're gonna see if that triggers. It does. Applying hit impulse. Debris hit with arc. But it's not actually doing anything. It's not actually doing anything. Very weird. I was gonna say print. .x. Here, I'm gonna actually show what the impulse value is, because maybe something's getting messed up in the passing process where it's just like extraordinarily small. So we have that hit. It's applying 1000, 1000. It should be flying off the screen. Does the start tumble like break that? I'm really confused. Maybe the start tumble breaks that. Maybe the start tumble breaks that. I have another idea of something that we can test. Maybe without tumbling, does this make it like fly? Yes, it does work. Okay, so it is applying the impulse, because look, it shoots that debris really far down to the right, 1000, 1000, whenever I hit it. But it doesn't do that when I tumble, so that's the problem. That's the problem, is the vessel tumble, it kills all the momentum. Because now that I've uncommented this, now if I do that exact same thing, when the debris jumps into the air, it's going to stay motionless. Yeah, that's what's happening, is this tumble is killing the momentum. That's what's happening. So let's go over to vessel. Actually, it's happening in tumble. I bet start sliding. Update. Change the 1000, make it go in more directions. I could, but like I already know that that's what the problem is. Because, sure, let's try that. If we say negative 1000, then it should go to the bottom left, and then that's extra confirmation. Whoops! I need to stop the tumble if I want to test that. It's so hard to see, but you can see it. Yeah, it flies all the way down here. You can see them. So it is that. So let's try and figure out why would start tumble cause the momentum be killed, or not the momentum, the impulse. It's actually the vessel's full impulse. This might be taking place in vessel, if I'm being honest. Start tumble. I can't think of why that would cause any problems. Self tumble equals new tumble. Okay. Let's see if there's something in here that would cause problems with the speed, the movement, sliding. It probably has to do with sliding. Damping when sliding. Maybe the damping is really screwed up when it's created. It went so fast, I know. That's the problem with doing 1000 by 1000. It'd probably be a lot easier to see if it was 100 by 100. But I think the issue is somewhere in here. And I think it has to do with the sliding, because the tumble logic does have... I actually don't even think I want sliding anymore, because now I have proper damping. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, this sliding concept is really old. The sliding is what happens when, like, it's done bouncing and it slides to a stop. But that's really hacky, so I think that's probably what's causing it. Let's see. Slid. Rise landing. It's probably not happening here. Let's see if it's happening when it's not supposed to. So I have the console open on the side, and I'm gonna let you know when it triggers that new print. Oh, okay. It does wait. It does wait. So it does spawn all of them before transitioning to slide. So I don't think that it's transitioning too early. Set linear damping. If self-sliding and self-collider. Butterfly, welcome in. Tumble destroy. Very weird. Very weird. Rise jump. Oh, I wonder if this is killing it. That'd be weird. Maybe it is. Rise. Jump. No, seems fine. Calculate initial velocity needed to reach desired height. This is fine. This is fine. It is so weird. Why would this kill all momentum? Jam, you are so right. Here, maybe it's this. Still bouncing, reduce horizontal and bounce. Oh, Well, I wonder if this is called... I wonder if this gets called immediately. What is the jam? Yeah, you can just see it in the overlay. It's a small little thing to let people know that the song is good. And actually, since we got 4 people jamming, it's going to tell us how many people jammed at the end of it. So, the only function in this entire file, tumble, that could possibly lead to a velocity change is here. So let's see if getting rid of this changes anything. Whoops. Nope, no change. Still bad. Oh, so sad. So sad. Start bounce. Rise, tumble, self. Rise, tumble, spin, base speed, rise, jump. So maybe, like, this is the thing, is like, it's going down so many deep... it doesn't work. That would be cool if it did that. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's, like, a turtle emote. Yeah, you can just use the turtle emote. What a cutie. I love him. I'm kind of worried that the issue is, like, is so deep into the layers. Not jump, rise. So, where in here? Vertical velocity. Ground Z. Is this causing, like, damping? Like, damp. Maybe the damping is causing problems. Prop, damp, linear damping. Maybe the linear damping's too high. The thing is, when it's in the air, it's supposed to have... Why is this... You know what? I think that part of the problem is that props have their own, like, linear damping while the vessels themselves have linear damping. Oh my gosh. I think that is the problem. To stop props faster. I'm kind of worried that the debris has some, like, really awkward damping being applied to it. By the way, damping is how quickly it decelerates, like how much friction there is in the world. And the whole point is that when something is in the air, it's supposed to have no friction at all. That's why when I'm jumping around, but I need to go. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate that. When I jump in the air, the player has no friction at all. So, like, I can, like, jump and take my hands off the keyboard, and he keeps moving while I'm in the air, but then he stops when he lands. What I think is happening is... Maybe the... When I start the stream, I thought you were supposed to start in 15. Nope, I start at 10 a.m. CT, so that... Well, actually, I know what happened. I'm sorry, I forgot that this happened last time, too. We had spring ahead in the US. I forgot about that. This is not something that happens everywhere. We had daylight savings over the weekend, so I sprung ahead 15 minutes. Sorry, I sprung ahead an hour. And I didn't even think about that. That definitely is what's causing an offset issue. That absolutely explains why people aren't here right now. Because I always start at 10... And I started early. That's so funny. That is so funny. I think that explains why my view count was lower, because I did start early, you know, because of daylight savings. With that in mind, I think I'm gonna go an extra. Well, I don't have time to go an extra hour. I'm planning to stream on Twitch after this for a little bit. I'm gonna stream Slay the Spire, and then I am gonna go to a movie this evening. So I'm not gonna be able to stream on Twitch this evening. That's why there were less people around. I think that's the main reason why, because we had daylight savings, and there's so many people in Europe or wherever they don't use that. Happy Moonshire Monday. Thank you for that. Slay the Spire 2 good. I haven't played it yet. I'm going to be playing it for the first time. It's going to be a blind run. But I did play Slay the Spire 1, and I love it. I think it's really good. I really don't want to give up on the debris sliding issue. Here's another theory. Is what if the collision with the box is what's killing the momentum? That would actually make sense. No, it wouldn't make sense. That still doesn't make sense because I proved just a second ago that the tumble is what causes the speed to be killed. Yeah, because it gets fixed as soon as I do that. It's not the collision with the box. It definitely 100% is something with the rise and having like some kind of like conflicting. How do you use physics or tween? Z velocity. You know, I think that this is not actually a problem. Low damping for air, higher damping for friction. Oh, here, this is some, look, this is some custom tumble damping logic. If there's a collider, and there's a tumble, and the tumble is active, and the tumble is not sliding, then is an air. I wonder if the vessel is not triggering as an air, where the damping is just not being set. Is like 90% bug fixes? Yeah, it totally is. It totally is. I'm wondering if this isn't being reached, because it needs to have the the low air damping, otherwise it's going to slow down too quickly. So I'm gonna see, does it say that? Oh, I need to start the tumble again. Yeah, it worked. It's working fine. So it is accurately applying the, where was that? The low air damping that is being set properly. Update the tumble component. Twalk if self position. Update shadow. Dude, I don't even know. That is so weird. It's probably more than that. It very well could be. Okay, I gave it a very fair shot, but I am unfortunately very stuck on why the debris that's being shot out from the box is not receiving the impulse when start tumble happens. I've confirmed that when I comment this line, it does receive the impulse properly. And actually, I'm going to get rid of... I'm going to get rid of... never mind. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it there. I've confirmed that it receives this impulse whenever I disable the tumble. I'm going to confirm that one more time. But turning the tumble back on is what causes it to not... It loses all of that momentum. You're late? No, actually, it's funny because you're not late. You're on time. It's just that in the U.S. we had daylight savings and we sprung ahead, and I forgot that that's going to impact the stream timing around the world. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask Copilot to fix this. I'm gonna give it the exact scenario. And I'm going to say, when the start tumble is triggered, it causes the debris to lose all its momentum impulse. When I comment this line out, the impulse is very noticeable. Why is the momentum getting killed? Okay, so we're gonna let that run for a little bit and see if it finds anything. Why does daylight savings even exist? It's because in certain parts of the country, and in the US at least, and actually probably lots of parts of the world, there are areas where it is super dark in the morning during the winter. So like over the winter, you'll wake up in the morning and without daylight savings, it would be like pitch black outside. And that's dangerous for people that for kids that go to school. So the idea of daylight savings, it's supposed to make it so there's some daylight in the morning, so that it's safer to travel. But at the same time, you know, there's some inconveniences that go with that. Let's see what it's doing. Nice to see more Mario and Luigi music. Yeah. That was requested by Wolf, and I really like the songs that got added. I love the way that it's like, but wait. I shouldn't be clearing horizontal momentum. Let me trace through stop tumble. It's taking a while. I don't think it's able to find. I think it's having trouble finding the issue. While that works, I can keep investigating it too. Because what I think is happening is that when the hitbox collides with a prop somewhere, it's going to pass the impulse vector to the prop, which then passes it from the prop to the debris. How accurate do you find Copilot to be? When you give it enough context, it's very accurate, but it definitely depends. How do I get over recording my own voice so hard? Oh, I know, it really is awkward, because definitely for the first many years that I made videos, I felt that way. Especially like when I look at my Game Maker Crab channel. I made this channel when I was 12 years old, and like if I go through and listen to some of the voice stuff on here, actually we're going to do that. We're going to do that because it's very funny. We're going to listen to this one because I speak in this one.
All right, start out with just add a bullet sprite and a player sprite and a bullet object and a player object. Then you need to go to the bullet object properties and add a create event and add a move fix action, and you can make the direction whatever you
Dude, like I remember when I recorded this all the way back then, and I remember being so embarrassed by how my voice sounded. Yeah, but you're young and these YouTube was a different place back then. I know, I understand. But what I'm saying is how I felt back then is the exact same way that you're feeling right now, is that you record your voice. And by the way, everyone feels that way. Like even when you have like a home movie or like a video of Christmas or something like that, and you go back and watch that, hearing your voice is really awkward because it just sounds different than how it sounds in your own head. And that is a weird thing to get over. But now I'm at the point where I don't think about that at all. I feel like my voice sounds just fine. It amazes me every time how much older you sound than you actually are in those videos. I know.
Same with the speed, whatever.
You know, genuinely, I sound okay. in these videos.
And click OK.
But I don't sound very confident. I sound a little bit more confident in a different one of these, in this one.
Hey, this is Game Maker Crab. Obviously, I have not been making very many videos lately, but that is going to change, whether you believe that or not, but it is going to change. I am going to make more videos, more tutorials, or whatever you want me to make soon. And this is the first of many that is going to come.
That cracks me up every time. I really love that. There's another funny part in here. It's because when you speak and hear your own voice, it's traveling through your bones, but when you hear your recorded voice, it's traveling through the air. I think it is something like that. Is that like your own head, the way your eardrums interpret it. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm trying to get ideas from your newer videos about tone, but ITK, if I should try to sound excited, just say it normally. That's a good question, and that's honestly something that's something that I'm struggling a little bit myself, because when I watch my devlogs, I actually find them a little bit cringy because they're scripted. All my devlog videos are scripted, and when you hear like a scripted performance, I find it really cringy just because I realize it. But when I watch like a live stream, it doesn't feel nearly as cringy because it's like ad-libbed. It doesn't feel, I don't know. It's hard to really explain that. But in terms of trying to get ideas from my videos, I like to try to keep things as natural as possible, but that takes a lot of, it's hard to do. It's finding that balance between sounding natural and casual while also being articulate and getting your point across in a smart way. Because when I'm in speaking in a devlog, I want it to be as articulate and like well written as possible. But the problem with that is that when it's like too well written, it doesn't sound natural anymore. It doesn't sound like it's just being spoken properly. CG Krez, hi, welcome in. Also, CG Krez, you got the gold badge. You've been a member for a long time. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate that. I do the best live vlogs, so thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I did it scripted, and I keep cringing because I wouldn't say like some of those. Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean. That's kind of why with my videos, I kind of want to move in a direction where I use more clips from this live stream and try to incorporate that and like condense that into a devlog, or I'm not quite sure. Something like that would be really, really cool, because when I watch YouTube videos and there's like a scripted joke, sometimes it's hard for me to, it doesn't land. And that's definitely something with myself. I put script jokes into my videos sometimes, and I'm like, it doesn't really work. I want to show this other part of this video.
Such a great artist. And I drew a heart container also. Well, it's not really a heart container, but I think it is. And if you don't know what a heart container is, look it up.
I'm like gatekeeping Zelda fans. Oh my gosh, I love that. But you know how I got better at voiceover today is that I did a lot of it. So since I did so much voiceover since I was a kid, eventually I got pretty decent at it. You're a big inspiration to me personally. Your content is top tier. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. By the way, the Copilot was not able to figure it out. It was not able to figure it out. It's still searching. That's not right. It's not. It's actually broken. Because when I ask Copilot a question, I would say 9 times out of 10, it's able to figure it out immediately, like within 20 seconds. So the fact that it's stumbling on this for it's been like 5 minutes almost. That tells me it's not able to figure it out. So I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna let it be. It choked. It totally choked. Like I gave it an opportunity to shine, and it blew it. It totally blew it. So we're not gonna worry about that right now. All I'm gonna worry about for now, I'm gonna worry about that physics issue later. The physics issue, by the way, for anyone who's just stopping in, is that when I hit one of these boxes, the particles are staying in place. They're just like staying still when they're supposed to be launched. And it's some kind of weird issue involving the tumble, because where is that? In here. If I comment out this start tumble, it does work. The impulse is applied. You can see they all get launched this way. So it works. But when I tumble, it doesn't work. So why would that happen? Why would going into start tumble cause things to not work? Why would it cause the momentum to be killed? Younger you sounds kind of aggressive. I think that I was trying to put on a little character back then. I have a pleasant voice to hear. Thank you. It comes from time, because if you go back and listen to some of my earliest videos, I really feel like my voice wasn't as nice. Or my Udemy course back in like 2017, the voice was not very nice to listen to. Jam. Oh yeah, this is a jam. Oh, I didn't do it right. I accidentally. I should make it so that if you mistype it like that, it'll still work. Ask ChatGPT find the bug. I don't think it's gonna be able to. Such a weird issue. Could you compare impact, impulse, and tumble code? Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying. Is I've been stepping through to see what the issue is. Where what's happening is if I comment this out. Oh my gosh, the music's a little bit loud. Okay. Then suddenly it comes back, but when I bring this back, then it's just going to tumble in place. It's just gonna jump up and not move. So, why would that be? I'm gonna do one more step through to see if we can find it, and then I'm gonna move on. We're just gonna work on like the art side of things. Because start tumble happens, so it definitely goes into vessel :start tumble. If self.tumble, stop tumble. So I wonder what it maybe this is being called. If this is being called, this might kill momentum. That's possible. Let's see if that's being called. Oh my gosh, my misclicks are all over the place. So bad. Your Udemy course was so awesome and helpful for me. Awesome. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you. Nope. So this did not get hit, so that's fine. That's good. It shouldn't be hit. That's what I want. Jam. This is one of my favorites. One of my favorites ever. I love this song so much. You're always going to find disrespectful people on the internet, but unless your opinion is somehow completely invalid, I think the majority of people will always support you. It's 100% true for your fans. Thank you. Yeah, I'm with you. Is that there's always going to be negativity. There's always going to be people that will give you feedback. There's always going to be people that will like put you down, because that's the thing, is that there are some people that really get a kick out of like being mean online. It like makes them feel validated because their own lives are so lame. And you just have to acknowledge that like you putting in the work and putting yourself out there. It's a huge difficult step, and yeah, people are gonna give you a hard time. That's just how it is. When is the game going to be released? It's hard to say. But what I want is to have a new playable demo out for people to try out as soon as possible, like really as soon as possible. With lots of love also comes lots of hate. Yeah, exactly. People are jealous of success too. So if you're successful, people won't like that. And also people are critical. People find nitpicky things to get mad about. So back to this. Start tumble, tumble args, parent self. It creates a tumble, return tumble, that's fine. So vessel.tumble new, tumble args. I do think that this happens here. Parent, bounce. Sliding is false. I still think it's possible that the sliding logic is causing this. Store references for convenience. Start bounce. Is there anywhere else where sliding is set to true? Because if that gets set to true anywhere, that could cause problems. No. This is the only place. So I don't think it's the sliding issue either. Is AI really good at coding? It depends. As we just demonstrated, there definitely are scenarios where it can't figure things out. But in general, if you give it enough context, it does produce really good code. It is definitely true. It is good at coding when you give it enough context. But it does make choices that I often don't agree with. It does often make mistakes where it thinks something is possible when it's not. It still screws up, and it makes like weird choices that a human wouldn't make, again, just because it doesn't have enough context. And what I'm getting at is it's good when you keep it on a leash. I first thought you're just one of those dorky wannabe indie game devs. I want to make Zelda. Yeah, I know. Now I think you're one of the best and most chill to watch. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And I'm with you. That's kind of something that I've been doing recently. Is I want to put my credit. I want to give myself a little bit more credibility, because making videos about game development is one thing, but actually like publishing and having people play your game is a whole different thing. I think it's such a hard step to release a playable game that people are actively interested in playing, and that's a step that I really want to get past. And once I do that, I think it's going to give me a little bit more credibility in terms of like how I appear online. But I'm with you that I think I set myself apart a little bit in terms of credibility. So the code is meant to realistically simulate the debris. It has both a sliding and bounce property. Yeah, the idea behind the debris is that, and this is archaic, by the way. I probably should remove sliding entirely, but when the debris launches, it bounces. And while it's bouncing, it has low friction because it's in the air. And then when it lands, when it stops bouncing, it's meant to slide to a stop. But that whole concept of sliding isn't really necessary anymore, because I fleshed out the physics engine to be super good. The physics engine can handle sliding naturally. I shouldn't have to have a separate sliding state. Has the capability of using C#, right? I wanted to give Godot a shot, but learning the language while being in C# makes me nervous. I'm with you. Personally, I don't think that the language should be as much of a barrier as you think it is. When you're starting out, it is good to stick with one language for a while you get full familiarity with it. But at the same time, I think that you'll realize that GD script and C#, they really aren't that much different. You'll probably notice that there's a lot of similarities. The only differences is like the wording or the formatting, the use of white space. It's just very minor differences. But logically, it's still going to flow the same way, probably. I don't know that with certainty. But what I'm getting at is, if you read through my code here, like this code here, if you know C#, you'll be able to read this code. No question. Like, and I'm sure like other people out there can vouch for that. If you know C#, I'm sure you understand what a function is. You understand that calling a function and like setting variables and if then. I understand that C# uses curly braces for their if statements, but I think you kind of get the idea of what's going on here, right? Is that this is an if statement and that the then and the end is basically just a curly brace. It's not that much different, is what I'm getting at. So if you want to use Godot, just use Godot. The language shouldn't really be the barrier to entry, because they're all really similar. Lua is the goat, though, IMO. Love me some tables. I do also love Lua. I'm a really, really big fan of it. No, that doesn't make sense. Undertale is a game built with cardboard tape and a lot of else statements, I'm sure. I get the impression that's true, yeah. Because the developer, Toby, wasn't really a programmer. He's more of like an artist and a musician. So using GameMaker seemed really natural. It's a really good fit for him. But yeah, I imagine that it probably is not the like most architecturally advanced. It's built on one man's hopes and dreams. Well said. Very well said. First game was in Pico 8, so I'm just used to language now. Nice. Yeah, Pico 8's awesome. I haven't used it myself yet, but obviously I'm a big fan of Lua, and I think that I would like Pico 8. I once had played your demo game, but at the time the player only had 3 lives. I'd change it. If not, please do it. Yeah, I think that how it is you start with 3 lives, and then if you get a ruby, you can get it up to 4. But yeah, it's pretty limited. The whole idea is the game is meant to be balanced around that, but the demo probably is not well balanced around that at the moment. So, start bounce. The bounce starts immediately. What happens in start bounce? It has a self tumble. It actually is interacting with the rise. Jump. So it's possible that this is happening in rise. Jump. Jump. Effective gravity. Z velocity. Use physics. Oh, come on. You know, maybe it's not using the physics-based rise movement. Maybe it is using tweens. If it's using tweens, that could cause problems. Problem is doing game dev when you are not much of a coder or an artist. Well, that's the thing is, you just start doing it. When I started doing game development, like when I was making these game maker videos, like I said, I was 12. Like I didn't know what I was doing back then. I just followed tutorials and followed guides and learned how to do it over time. And I was horrible at art and I was horrible at coding, but now I'm pretty good at art and I'm pretty good at coding. Actually, I'm really good at coding because that's what I spent my career doing. And now I'm kind of good at art. I'm pretty good. I have a copy of Operator Time. Is it worth playing? I've never been much of a Zelda person, so if anyone has opinions, let me know. Well, yeah, I think it's definitely worth playing. It's a really, really classic, good game. Having a copy of it is really cool. I don't have a copy of it. I have an N64 behind me. See it right there. But I don't have a copy of Ocarina of Time. I want to see if maybe these debris particles, do they use the physics? Here's another thing. I can check to see if I can actually view the colliders. So we can see the physics of all those things. Yeah, they're just staying motionless. It's so weird. So weird and so annoying. What does tween do in this context? So the point of tween is that it moves one value to a different value, but it does it like smoothly. So if you need to like change your rotation from 0 degrees to 180 degrees, you could instantly flip it like that, or you could tween it. And by tweening it over to 180, it does like a smooth rotation rather than just like a boop, instant flip. That's what a tween does. So the idea of tween on rise is that you tween up and down for a jump, but I don't really want that. It's supposed to use, all of it's supposed to use physics-based movement. It does. It does. It switches to physics-based movement. I wonder if that's... Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition. I had that. I had that when I was a kid. Oh, sad. Spending all this time just debugging. It spawns debris. And seeing again if maybe it's passing some weird value into this, because this is where it happens. Debris create. So where's that debris create? type ID is table. No, it's not. Chip. If self.chip. Spending all your time debugging? Sounds like normal coding time to me. I mean, basically, yeah. It's just not very interesting to watch. Well, maybe it is, I don't know. Love2D does have Box2D physics engine, and he uses Winfield library on top of it. Yeah, I used Winfield for a while. I actually use a different physics wrapper now that I wrote myself that's not Winfield, but it's really similar. This is your self-coded physics engine. It's built off of Box2D, but I use a lot of custom code to make it work. I think self.chip is just, yeah, it's just an ID. So when that gets passed into debris : create, it's just a string, which is fine. Handle group, calling group function. Oh, actually, it's gonna call self group. Oh my gosh, what if this is where it's happening? Because it's actually spawning a bunch of debris from here. I kind of think that maybe it's not spawning because it's being used in a group, maybe? Oh, that doesn't make sense. I mean, maybe. Here, let's try this. Wood splinter. So instead of using a group, this would make sense to me. If the group nesting logic was not passing the values all the way through, that would make sense. Let's try that. I need to make sure that that thing is not on... Where is that? Start tumble. Nope, didn't work. Just... No. Darn, I'm so annoyed. Man, I'm so annoyed. Are they... They're not colliding with each other. That doesn't make any sense. Does anything else call? Start tumbling immediately. What if it's spin? What if it's spin? I can't think of anything else that would be doing this. I'm really struggling. What are they supposed to do? Explode outwards? Yeah, that's the problem is that they are supposed to explode outwards in the air, but the problem is when they go in the air, they don't get that outward motion. They just go straight up and straight back down. And then if I don't launch them in the air, they do spread out. So they spread out when they're on the ground, but as soon as I put them in the air, it just breaks everything. So I'm gonna check spin because it is spinning as well. I cannot imagine this is causing some sort of like movement issue. You're late. Your radio. I started an hour early because it's spring ahead in the U.S. and I didn't realize. I forgot that would impact everyone else. Is there any damping in here? Is there any velocity? Is there any movement? Oh, this is direct. Yeah, I don't think that this would cause any problems. Yep, I don't think it's in there. It's called when you land, though. What if... Maybe this gets called immediately for some reason. When the chips were created, is both the X and Y being passed into args? Yes, they are. They definitely are, because I was able to show that they do get launched when they're on the ground like this. So they are, the impulse is being passed. You can see it. And then when I go here and I start the tumble, because this is the line that's breaking everything. As soon as this line happens, it breaks that outward motion. Stays still. Just stays still. Doesn't make sense. It's applying it. It's just so weird. Oh, bummer. I'm AFK. No worries. I mean, I'm just beating my head against the wall against this for this issue. We're gonna try this too. Making sure that this is the impulse that's being applied. Doremi, thank you for being here. It's a little quiet right now because I am super focused on this dumb bug. It's giving me so many issues. What? There's a different... What? What if I move this after? That's a really weird idea, but maybe. Still no. It's just, they're just staying right in place. It's driving me nuts. When you isolate the problem, but you can't figure out why it's the problem. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it seems. I thought for sure it would be super easy when I identified that this line here was causing the problem, but it could be so many different pieces here, because the debris. Group ID. How about we move on for now and get back in like 5 minutes? Maybe. Item args. Create debris args. What? It's not using this. It's not using this for group. Oh, it spawns this afterwards. It spawns this afterwards. Create. It gets created. I am so confused, dude. I'm sad. I'm sad that I can't figure it out. How about I'll ask the AI to check into it one more time. I don't... Yeah, that sucks. That sucks. I spent so much time on this and I can't really figure it out. But I'm gonna see if it has any ideas. I'm gonna go over to Rise, Debris, and Vessel, because it could be in any one of these. Like to this one. Well, the reason this stream started late, I think, for a lot of people, just because of daylight savings. So we're gonna try one more time. We're gonna say, when the tumble doesn't activate for the debris, it's able to receive the impulse, but I don't see any impulse if the tumble is started. Can you trace through all vessel, rise, tumble, and any related physics code to see if there's anything that we missed that could possibly cause the impulse to not apply, the damping to be too high, the vessel to be treated irregular, in an unusual way, etc. The solution will come to you in the shower or something. I mean, that is always how it happens. But I always try to make asking an agent be like the last solution, because I like to understand the flow of how all the stuff works. Because even like the thing that I was just going through right now, where I was stepping through how the debris links to the vessel, which links to the tumble, which utilizes the rise, which all of which come from the prop, and then the hitbox actually interacts with the prop, which makes it spawn the debris instance. But then the debris instance is actually a group. It spawns by debris colon group, and then debris colon group actually passes these arguments through itself recursively to spawn each individual item. Do you feel like the agent increases your productivity a lot? I think it does increase my productivity, yes, because when you know exactly what questions it's able to handle, and also when I'm on stream, I try to do it less because it's not very interesting to watch someone type prompts. I think it's a lot more interesting to watch someone's thought process and actually code some things and talk about why things are the way they are. I'm realizing that now because I've shown a few AI prompts on stream, and it's gone like, you know, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. The truth is like I'm still learning when it's appropriate to use something like this. But I am realizing that there are times when you definitely should, because, well, definitely, I shouldn't say definitely. It's the big thing holding you back, the big problem with using an agent is that it takes away the like interactive learning process from you. That process I just went through, where I was like tracing through my own code, through debris, through vessel, through tumble, through rise, like that's a really valuable process for me, because I gain some extra familiarity with the code that you only get from interacting with it on a deep level like that, from debugging, from problem solving. And when you ask an AI to do it for you, it zero effort. It just fixes it. It just fixes it. So that's kind of why I don't normally like to recommend people use it, but from a productivity standpoint, if like you're an employee at a software company, it's really useful for debugging. It's really useful for like writing tests, writing comments. It does help with productivity when you know how to use it, but it's really important to use like version control, because it makes mistakes and you have to undo those mistakes. It's really important to be aware of what changes it's making, make sure that all of the documentation is getting updated, and making sure it's not introducing any security concerns, because sometimes when you ask it to do a really challenging task, it will do it, but it'll do it in like a hacky way or not a very smart way. And it does take a trained eye, someone who's familiar with the architectural software development process, to catch those things. And you know, we're still at the early phases of all this stuff. Okay, it says that it figured it out, so let's see what it did. It says, found the root cause. Here's the full analysis. The movement system in Vessel runs every frame and actively overwrites the collider's velocity, completely wiping out any impulse that was applied. Here's the sequence when start tumble is called. Apply impulse, sets physics velocity on the collider. Start tumble calls rise jump, setting use physics to true, yes, and z velocity is 0. That's fine. Z velocity greater to 0. I don't know what that means. You don't set it greater than 0. I guess it just means it's going up. It's going up. Next frames update. Rise updates. Vessel.z becomes 0. Oh, becomes greater than 0. Place updates. Place detects airborne is equal to true. Yes, that's true. Sets profile to air. Yes, that's good. Movement system enters the airborne branch. It reads self momentum, which is still 0, 0, because apply impulse only touches the collider's physics velocity, not the vessel's momentum vector. That makes sense. The collider has its own momentum property, which I was calling it momentum. It's actually not momentum that we're using. We're using the impulse. The momentum is something that I invented for the physics system. It's not something that we're interacting with right now. On the grounded path, when z is still 0 on the first frame, is equally destructive. Target X target is in no moved or input for debris. Lerp's current velocity towards 0 with factor has velocity each frame. Well, why it works without tumble? Without tumble, rise jump is never called, so z stays 0 and place everyone stays false. The grounded path still decelerates the impulse, but the initial burst is visible for a few frames before friction kills it. Well, that's what I want. With tumble, the airborne path immediately zeroes velocity because momentum was never set. So I think it's saying the movement system should skip its velocity management when a tumble is active, since tumble handles the movement system. Both grounded lerp was running during tumble and overriding velocity every frame. The airborne branch was the worst offender. It called set velocity. Now the movement system is skipped entirely while tumble is active. The momentum system is something that I invented myself for impulses that carry forward momentum, since the standard impulse system from Box 2D was not intuitive enough. So I'm thinking that it would be better if the debris tumble rise system used the momentum system as well. If you think that would improve the code, could you refactor it to use momentum? Nintendo Music isn't copyrighted because it uses background music. Yeah, the way copyright in music works is really complicated, and on YouTube it's even more complicated. But in general, the rule is if the original artist is okay with people using their music in their videos, then you can use your music in their videos. And Nintendo has, like, I actually remember probably like a decade ago when Nintendo Music was kind of like questioned, and there were some issues with it, but they've been very open about it. Now the big catch though is you can't just like post their music raw for people to download for free like you're distributing it. That's not what you're supposed to do. They're cool with people playing their music because like it plays in the background of their games. In their regulations, they don't specify those cases. No, they don't. The question is are you sure? The answer is no. I'm not sure. No one's sure. But I do know that they don't enforce it. I do know that they are okay with it because they could strike any channel that uses Nintendo Music, and if they wanted to, they could. They should. But they don't. So that's kind of what it all comes down to. And by comparison, Square Enix does not want Final Fantasy music playing in videos on YouTube, and so they make copyright claims on any videos that do that. Perfectly fine. That is their music. They have every right to do whatever they want with it, and if they want to have their music fully protected, by all means. That's how it should be. But since that's the case, I don't play any Final Fantasy music on my streams anymore, because whenever I would receive a claim. I don't receive those claims with particular Nintendo music. I'm sure there are some Nintendo music that is more protected than others. For videos and shorts as well, they don't strike them down. No, not really. So again, the big thing to keep in mind is if you're doing it in good faith, like it's just like the background music and you're talking over it, it really is just like for the vibes, you're probably fine. People use their music all the time on YouTube and on videos and stuff. The best way to figure it out, watch other people's videos. Watch some successful videos and see what kind of music they're using. I see people using Nintendo music all the time on YouTube. It's very, very common. So that indicates to me that it must be allowed. And if it turns out that it's not allowed, then they'll start claiming me, and then I'll stop using it. But at the moment, I can only go off of what it is, like, you know, would be a lot of backlash for them. That's the thing, is like they as a company need to balance, like, do we want to be fully allowing to people using our stuff, or do we want to be fully protective? Because there's benefits to both. When you are a company, it is important to protect your assets and your copyrights and anything that you have ownership of. But at the same time, it's good to treat your players with respect, and treat people who are interested in your product with respect, and make sure that everyone's able to have a good time with it. If you add something to it, like your own audio on top of music, then it's probably allowed. But if you just post the music as is without adding anything, you'll probably get copyrighted. That's the vibe that I get. But all of this stuff is speculative, because like that person was saying, no one really knows. They're not going to outright say, yes, you can use your music, but we do know that people do, and they allow it. Persona 5 Music was on every video essay like 5 years ago. Alice never tried to take those down. You're right, but it started happening for me. Like, I had Persona Music in my playlist, but I have had to take out every single Atlas song from my playlist. There is no more Atlas music because it kept getting claimed. So maybe things have changed. Maybe the policies are different. Maybe it's song by song. Maybe certain users got permission. But for me personally, I get claimed whenever I use their music, so I don't use it. And that's literally what it all comes down to. Yeah, I wonder what changed. I'm not sure. Because I used Persona music and SMT music in my videos a lot. Some of my devlog music has SMT stuff in it, and it never got claimed. But in my streams, I would have some Persona music playing once in a while, and I would do, I would have SMT songs as well, and just sometimes it would. The problem that I'm encountering right now with YouTube is that the music ID actually misidentifies your song as something else. So for example, in a stream either last week or the week before, I think it was the week before last, excuse me, I was playing a song from Undertale, from Deltarune, and I got copyright claimed. Not from Toby Fox, but it got copyright claimed because YouTube identified that song that was playing, the Toby Fox song, as someone's cover of that song. And so, even though I was playing the original, like, Toby Fox song, YouTube thought I was playing someone's cover of that song, and so my entire stream got claimed. And you have to dispute that, you have to figure it out. Sometimes you can't, depending on what it is. Like the Square Enix music, I wasn't able to make any sort of dispute because straight up they own that music and you can't use it. They copyrighted that one video which had Donkey Kong Country music with a Japanese title. Interesting. I don't know what you mean. Oh, is it just like one of those music playlists on YouTube? That makes sense. I think in general it makes sense to claim any videos that are just like flat out distributing your music, because that's not right. You shouldn't be able to just distribute someone else's music. But if you're playing it like in the background, that does seem like a different thing. But the law is the law. The internet checkpoint. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that too. This is taking forever. This is another reason why I don't like using these agents on stream, because sometimes it's just not very interesting. Sometimes it just takes a long time. Do I multi-stream or only YouTube? Recently, I've just been doing one platform at a time. So I've just been streaming on YouTube, and in the afternoons or evenings, just streaming on Twitch. And the reason for that is just because I like having one single chat place. I like having one point of truth. I think that's nice. Compared to when people are split up, it feels a little bit awkward. And then plus, I think the policies for allowing like the stream, like multi-streams to be visible in the overlay, I hear that's been like changed a bunch of times. There definitely was a point where you couldn't show Twitch on, or you couldn't show YouTube chat on Twitch. That might have changed. I don't really know. Okay, it finished. Let's see what it did. Here's a summary of what changed across 3 files. Vessel. The movement system now recognizes tumble state. Bouncing tumble. Treated as airborne, so the momentum branch runs. Momentum persists through bounces with minimal air decay. That's exactly what I wanted. So when I first implemented tumble a long time ago, I kind of did it in a somewhat hacky way because I didn't have this momentum concept invented yet, and the physics system wasn't really fleshed out at all. I was just using the baseline Box 2D physics. So I didn't have any of this special functionality, but now that I do, it makes sense to go back through these this vessel and tumble stuff and make it work with the proper... Your name's Moonshire. Hey, I'm mad at me, my developer. Thank you for stopping in, Moonshire. Big fan, bro. I just started game dev in Lua after watching your Love 2D Of course, it's amazing. I made some games now. I want to make 3D games. I like them more. Do I use Roblox Lover or Leadworks? That's awesome to hear. My advice is to try out all of them because all 3 of those are free. So I would download all 3 of them and try out making small games in all of them. Just make a small project in each of them. And then whichever one you like the best is the one I would stick with because they all can make good games, so it doesn't really matter which one you choose. Greetings from Brazil. Thanks for the Love to D tutorials. Awesome. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, I'm happy that they're helpful. Moonshire, is this a joke? There was someone a long time ago who changed their chat name to Moonshire, but YouTube changed it where it shows your like @ symbol now, so you can't really spoof it anymore. Bouncing tumble, sliding tumble, falls to grounded branch, which naturally lowers velocity towards 0. That's exactly what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted because I implemented this sliding concept because there was no momentum. Momentum didn't exist. There was only damping. And so I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'll implement a sliding concept. But yeah, so this removed sliding as a concept and now just uses the natural momentum to slow to a stop. Remove the natural set layer damping toggling section. Yes. And tumble now operates through momentum instead of raw collider velocity. Yes, that's exactly what I want. Rise landing scales parent momentum by 0.5 on each bounce. That's good. Start sliding to stop spin. No damping or decel. Okay, so sliding actually does still exist. It's just the state that you're in when you're not bouncing anymore. That's fine. When posting shorts, do you feel like there's a video length or hour that works best? No. In my opinion, it doesn't matter what time of the day you post it. Because, especially for YouTube shorts. Maybe it matters more on TikTok, but on YouTube shorts, the way that my shorts would normally work is I would post it, one day would go by, and then all the views would come in. It would never come immediately. TikTok was different. TikTok, it seemed to kind of matter. So I would say post a few different times of the day and see which one works best, but on YouTube, it really shouldn't matter that much. Just spray, yes. This is all the stuff that I did is exactly what I wanted because before I hacked in all this logic of momentum, but now that I have a momentum like concept available for vessels, it makes way more sense to use that. Use set momentum instead of collider apply impulse. Oh, so good. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy. And look, it removed 47 lines of code and added 27, so it removed 20 lines of code in total by doing all that. So let's take a look at all the stuff that's changed. That's not changed. That's stuff that I changed. That's stuff that I changed. So it's setting momentum rather than applying impulse. Yes. This is something that I added. That's good. Initial momentum. Yes, same thing. It's just using momentum rather than impulse. It got rid of damping entirely. So yeah, the tumble doesn't need to worry about damping at all because the momentum system naturally accounts for where the object is in the universe. Like, is it in the air or is it on the ground? And it determines how much damping it gets naturally. It's really cool. A good day of coding is when you finish it up with negative 40 lines of code. Yes, you are totally right. You are 100% right. People don't normally appreciate that, but less code is better in general. Again, changing it from set velocity to momentum setting, which is awesome. So much better. Oh, I'm so happy. I call this variable mom mag, as in momentum magnitude, but it's called mom mag. That's funny. And then it clears momentum when it comes to a stop. Treat bouncing tumble as airborne. Yes. Cool. It doesn't need any of that stuff anymore. Okay. Let's see. So, what should happen is it should fly to the bottom left when I hit one of these boxes. So let's see if it happens. Woo! It works! There we go. There we go. That's it. Now, Now, I think I just need to pass args here, like this, and it should carry forward. No, not that. Why do you think the AI worked this time and not earlier? I don't know exactly. I did give it a different prompt that was a little bit different. I did point it out to specific files that I didn't point out to it before. And I did let it run for an additional 5 minutes. So it's possible that the first attempt would have worked, but it was already going for almost 5 minutes and I just stopped it. So that's something that sometimes happens. Being more specific is always more helpful. In general, yeah, that's just what happened, is that I gave it more context, and that was helpful for identifying the bug. So we're gonna go ahead and save that. What I need to do now is, right now I have it hard coded to go down left, or sorry, to go down left. But that's not what I want. Instead, I want it to go in the direction that, like, I hit it. And there should be an impact impulse. I think that this is part... Where does this come from? Where did impact impulse come from before? I don't know why prop hit. So what I actually need to do now is I'm trying to get the attack direction and impulse, because right now it's hard-coded. I need to get the impulse from the player attack's hitbox when it's passed to the prop. So this happens all the way in hitbox. When the prop spawns the debris. And it's actually here, process damage. When it spawns the debris, it has the impactor and the knockback. Oh, maybe it wasn't multiplying the knockback by it. I have an idea. I think that I can try... I think I can do args.impact impulse times 1000. I'm just trying to figure out what data do I have available that I can use for getting this. Uh-oh. What did I do? It's args.impact. Oh, it's not actually passing an impact impulse. So when the prop gets hit by a hitbox, it's supposed to pass an impact impulse. I think that the impact impulse isn't actually being passed in. I think that's the main problem. I'll say, if args dot impact impulse, then so it's only going to do this hit whenever there's an impulse. So this will help us identify, is there actually an impulse being passed to the prop and to the... There's not. So the problem now is that when the player attacks one of those boxes, it's not passing the vector. It's not passing the direction and the impulse to here. Because there is no impact impulse, and that's what it needs. Maybe it happens in collision, or I have a file called collision. No, it's not in collision, it's in inbox. Impact, impulse. Okay, so it does actually calculate an impact impulse right here. Hitbox hits a collider. The impact impulse... here's something interesting to think about. Do I get knocked back myself? I do get knocked back. So this impact impulse does get calculated correctly because the player gets knocked back. So they tolerate the use of their music but don't enforce it. I think that's what it comes down to, yeah. This is the thing about any piece of art. If someone out there makes art, automatically it receives a copyright if they post it. So if that's music, if that's an image, if it's a photo, if it's something, it's owned by the person who posted it. I guess I don't know about photos, but definitely art and music. So if someone makes music and they post it, you are not allowed to use it. It is their music. You're not allowed to use it. But if they choose not to enforce, like if they, how do I phrase this? Their policy might be that you can use it and then they won't strike you down, or it might be like you said, they just don't enforce. But I don't really know exactly what their policy is because they're not very clear about it, as far as I know. How did you decide between projectile-based combat versus melee? I just like swords. I just like swords, that's all. So we have this impact impulse. Is this impact impulse being passed? Collider hit. Okay, so it's being passed to the collider. This impact impulse is being passed to the collider, which is in physics. Hit. Args. Parent. The parent would be the prop. Prop hit. Args. What the heck? That doesn't make sense. Oh, wait. Process damage. Let's see if this triggers. Print. Let's see if this triggers. Knowing the license helps, but mainstream for sure, yeah. I think photos do have copyright because they are considered a form of art. That's my impression as well. Applying impulse to prop. And I got the direction correct. -75, -185, that's up and to the left. So that's correct. So the prop does receive the impact impulse correctly. So so it's applying that there. So args.impact impulse still is correct here. Process damage. And it's passing the whole args. So args.impact impulse is being passed here. Args.impact impulse. I think that's it. I think that's it. It's not impactor, it's impact impulse. I think that was it. No. Did I uncomment that thing? Wait, what did that do? Is that what I need? What is this trying to do? $709. Oh, it's all the way down here. I don't know yet. Maybe I need to include knockback as well. It's possible I need to include knockback as well. I don't think it is, actually. So this is passing it into debris. Yeah, it doesn't need that. Oh, this is making me mad. Impact impulse, because base args. Props.debris, create, self.ship, spawn base args. And we're passing it right here. And it's args.impact impulse. Args, process damage. And process damage is being passed from right here. We just tested args.impact impulse. And this base args gets passed into props.debris.create. Okay, so args all the way here. And what's going on with this? Apply defaults, self.defaults. Is it not actually applying the args? Okay, it did. It did. You're super late. What I do today, I was just working on some destruction particle stuff. Got some jams going on. Print set momentum to. Let's make sure that it's like actually working. What? Yeah, this isn't. Yeah, I don't think that this is being added. Oh, right. Hit is supposed to start it. So I'm changing my mind. I actually think that it doesn't. Maybe it does. If it already applies momentum when it's created, oh, it does when it's hit too. I think I'm gonna rearrange this a little bit. I'm gonna move this function up. No. Where's that impulse stir? Impulse, impact impulse. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do another query, and we're gonna say when prop is hit, it receives an impulse, and I want that impulse to be applied to, and I want them applied as momentum to the debris. But right now, it gets no impulse. What's missing? Some dude just ate my microwave? Jam? Oh yeah, we got another good jam. Dude, Silksong soundtrack, so good. So good. Okay, it says, it passes impact impulse, but debris create and debris create debris arc don't look for impact impulse, they look for impactor and knockback. Well, that's right, I did change that. Is past impact but never converted to a dir from momentum. The disconnect. Debris creates momentum from debris to dir, but process damage passes impact. Is to have debris create, convert impact impulse into a randomized dir. Into a randomized dir? No! That's so bad. Same angular variance logic that create... I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That's wrong. It failed. What are you doing? Where does it start the tumble? I think that oh my gosh. This is so messy. No, undo that. The problem is that there is... dude, I hate writing prompts on stream. I don't want randomness in the launch of the debris. The problem is that when the debris is spawned from a prop getting damaged, the impulse direction does not carry forward into the debris, so it's bounces up without any movement. Please investigate why when debris spawns, it does not currently move or receive momentum. It's supposed to launch in the direction that the that it was hit. What does the jam command do? It just allows you to jam. No, all it is just for fun, because it shows like your text in orange, and then at the end of the song it tells you how many people jammed to that particular song. Someone said, "Oh man, even you are vibe coding." Yep, that's the truth. So the other thing about when I'm streaming and I am working on code, it is actually pretty difficult to focus. I'm sure you guys noticed that in the middle of the stream when I was like debugging, I kind of just like stopped looking at chat. It was a little bit boring. One nice thing about writing prompts is that like I don't have to be looking at, I can look at the chat and talk about something else while all that stuff's going on. But at the same time, I really don't like writing prompts on stream just because it sets a bad precedent. I don't really think people should be using it unless like they are already really familiar with their code base. Is the code color coded? It looks like it is, but I'm stupid. The code is kind of color coded. In general, if you go into an IDE or like a coding environment, it is really common for all text to be color coded in some way or another. Where like all the keywords, function, if, and these are like the reserved words that Lua uses. And that's just like the purple is an indication that yes, this is a reserved word. And then you have cases like self. This is a reserved word, but is an object, is a specific instance of something. So I think the color coding is still still valuable. And also the big difference is that imagine this whole page and the text was just like all white. There was no color coding at all. That would be quite a bit harder to read through and figure out, you know. Okay, we're gonna finish up this last remaining problem and call it quits for the day, and we'll be good to go. Before I finish up, though, I wanted to mention that I'm going to be streaming. Oh, Rick Carlson, lunchtime, the old school geek himself. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. Thank you for stopping in. I was gonna mention that in 2 hours, or sorry, at 2 p.m. CT, I am gonna stream on Twitch. I'm testing the overlay code a little bit more, and I'm going to be playing Slay the Spire 2. So if you're interested, feel free to stop by twitch.tv/Chalacade in about 2 hours for that. I'll play non-color coded text, would be boring like my life. Fair. It's having a lot of trouble with this one. It's having a lot of trouble with that one. Did I try Resident Evil? No, I didn't yet. And you know what? I really think I'm going to, just because everyone says it's amazing, and I received it for free. I got it, like, I bought my graphics card and it came with Requiem, so I really should try it out. I'm getting ready for work. Thank you for stopping in. Looks like the game dev community is really starting to show up in these coding streams, seeing more people stream their work sessions on YouTube, Twitch. Cool. Yeah, I'm happy to see that it's catching on. I think it's a good habit to get into. At the same time, though, it is like, it's kind of hard to focus completely on a task when you're also streaming. Like, especially while you're learning how to code. If you're still new to coding or new to game development, streaming that process is really, that's a lot of pressure. I'd say it's okay to like work on games on your own, and once you feel a little bit comfortable, definitely stream it. I love streaming. I love streaming my game development stuff, and I like getting feedback from you guys. It's really helpful. Looks like I figured something out. Now I can see the full picture. There are 2 problems. Problem 1, data mismatch at every boundary. Process damage passes impact impulse to debris create. Shatter passes impactor knockback to debris create. Both go through group, but create debris args only checks for impactor. It completely ignores impact impulse. So, chips spawned from damage get no direction at all. Problem number 2, tumble never starts. I knew it. I knew this was happening. I couldn't figure it out though. Tumble never starts for group spawn debris. Earlier in the stream, I changed it from being a group to being a single instance to see if I could figure it out. I knew it was having problems. Group calls create debris args with output stir, tumble height, no impact impulse. Individual create then creates to start, but tumble never starts. Debris sits there, no bounce, no movement. Knockback multiplier kills momentum. Knockback multiplier 0.02 is needed for box 2D. Apply impulse mass dependent, but set momentum sets velocity directly. I remember this. I remember implementing this 0.02 thing and thinking it was so stupid and that it was going to cause problems later. So what this is doing is that before, when I was using impulses, the mass was really high so that I could get like a quick deceleration. And in order to do that, I had to have this knockback multiplier really, really high. So this was impacting the current knockback because it was like trimming down the knockback from like 100 to 2. It was super, super major. I remember doing this. I'm glad that it caught that. The 0.02 scaling reduces stir of 100 to 2. The fix make create debris args handle impact impulse, always start tumble. I guess so, yeah. Verify final result. Problems found. We just went through all that. Okay. And again, it removed 5 lines. So this fix was accomplished by removing code. That's amazing. So let's see. Did anything change? Yeah, look at that. Woo! Oh my gosh. Finally. Okay. Finally, things are working now. I'm gonna adjust how much of like a knockback it gets, how much an impulse I'm going to apply to it, but that's what I've been working on. Literally, this whole stream is that, trying to get it to launch outward. So happy. I really enjoyed Bean for Dev's recent video on Roller Coaster Tycoon, especially the Velocity Easter egg. Yeah, I watched that one too. Can't wait for Easter egg hunt. That'd be nice. Yeah, that'd be really cool. I'm definitely gonna put Easter eggs in the game, but probably not until like later in development. Okay, now that this bug is fixed, I'm really happy that got figured out. So, on that note, I'm gonna call it quits for the day. Thank you so much for being here. It was a really good stream. Really happy to have folks stepping in. A lot of people coming in that returning folks. We got Rick Carlson, Pikachu or a Gamer, Emogen, Future34, Mythical Rock, Tips Lipa. Thank you so much for being here, and I will be back next week. Don't forget to stop by in 2 hours for my Twitch stream. I'm going to be streaming Slay the Spire 2 in just 2 hours on twitch.tv/chalcape, so feel free to stop by there and say hi. Cal saying our names today, yay. Always happy to do that. Future34, Wolf, Penguin, thank you so much for being here, and I will be back next week. Bye, everyone.